So the transfer table is in, and believe me, it wasn't without lots of aggravation. Originally, I couldn't even get this transfer table to move without weight on it, like a locomotive, and bending the plastic slightly to make it so that the center of the pit is not higher than the outside. And that's kind of what was going on, because as you can see, there's gears on the edges of the pit, and if the center tends to be high, then it rides up, and then the gear sits there and grinds and it won't move. So that was one of the problems. The paper template that they gave you was not even close to accurate. So that was kind of aggravating. And with taking the table in and out of the wooden table several times, I broke the wires to the sensors. I resoldered them, but it won't calibrate. I don't know what's going on. And after playing around with this long enough, you don't need the calibration. As long as the unit says track 1 and the transfer table is at track 1, which it is now, you don't need to calibrate it, so you don't even need to worry about the sensors. So to hell with them. Don't need them. So this was at a point actually earlier. I was almost going to scrub this whole transfer table with all the aggravation it was giving me. But I kept playing around with it, and I finally got it to work. It's kind of aggravating that I paid almost $200 for this thing, and you got to modify it to make it work correctly. And it's not just me. There's YouTube videos of other people out there using aluminum pieces on the bottom. One guy got so fed up with this control that he put a regular DCC decoder in it, and I was almost contemplating that myself. But now that I got it to work, I'm not going to do that. So it's finally working. So I programmed a couple of tracks. It comes pre-programmed with track 1 and 2. You cannot change that. So like I said, track 1 is here at the beginning, and that's the way to do it. I was experimenting a little bit because I was going to use the center line of the pit where the two halves are as track 1, so I could line it up easier, and it gets all confused going back the other way, so you can't do that. You need to have number 1 at your first spot. Now it doesn't matter where it is, but it can't go back this way anymore, or it will get screwed up and grind the gears. So the way it is now, that's track number 1 location. Track number 2 is where the second piece of track is sitting. So let's go there. So to change it, you hit the set, it blinks, you go track 2, you press it, and then it cues it. And there it is. Now you can turn the deck lights on. The switch is kind of funky. There it is. They worked, actually. So that's track number 2. So like I say, those are factory defaults. You cannot change that, period. Which is fine. Doesn't matter. That's fine. So I programmed a track 3 at that next stub piece right there. Just random. I didn't even have the buildings lined up. So again, let's go to track 3. And then it blinks. And then it starts moving. It's pretty neat how it does that. And there we are at track 3's location. Now I programmed the last track all the way down at the end because I wanted to see how far I could put a piece of track down there It turns out that's where they are now. That's as far down as you can get. It's like a quarter, no, probably an eighth of an inch of hit in the end. So you put in track 5, and there it goes. I'm sort of impressed that I got this working, but for $200 I would expect a little bit better. If this was $100 and I could say, alright, yeah, but for $200, yeah. But I didn't really want to give up on it since I've had it for like 4 or 5 years now. It's been in the box because I was anticipating doing this. And there it is. Track number 5. So it is pretty neat. I was just kind of placing tracks here in the building flats, kind of sort of where I want them to be. And you'll notice on the far right over there, that stub track there, I think I'm going to make a loading dock on that building, and you'll be able to bring in one boxcar with a switcher and bring it down to that building. So that'll be kind of neat. And then these 2 tracks in the middle here will be for whatever, parking a locomotive, maybe materials for the shop, wheels, whatever. And then this track over here, along that wall, there's going to be another backdrop building with a loading dock. So you'll be able to bring, like I say, one boxcar or something, flat car, gondola, whatever, in through that track to service whatever that is. So it's pretty cool. There's going to be a lot going on here. This is the engineering office building. I'm still not completely sure how I'm going to locate that. I kind of need to stick it in there somewhere. It's kind of the office for the whole place here. And then that next piece of paper's steel water tower. That can kind of go, it could go there. It could go over here somewhere. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. It all depends kind of what I want to do with these tracks and what's usable and so on and so forth. One of these, either that one or that one, is the dead track. So you could use that for storing wheels or whatever on it. Or I might not even put a track there at all. But I kind of like the looks of all the tracks around, so I kind of want to fill the area in. Just kind of neat with tracks. So that's where we're at. Like I said, you can kind of see how it dips down in the center. I was kind of concerned with that because at first that bridge was not going across there right, and if it gets screwed up it starts going sideways and then it grinds the gear. But I got it so it works, so I don't want to mess with it. What concerns me is in the hot humid weather whether that's going to expand or not. We'll have to find out. So any tracks that I put down will kind of be temporary, at least this season, to see what happens. So there it is. This is pretty neat how this is all coming together. Like I say, this has been in the works for like 4 or 5 years now, and I just haven't gotten around to it. And with the current situation going on, I kind of have a little bit more time right now. I was working nights for 3 weeks, and this week I took a week off just to enjoy some time off for a little while and get some of these projects started. So there it is. It's pretty neat how this works. Let's go back to track 1 so you can see it again. The video's getting kind of long. So you just hit the go button when it's on the track 1, And there it goes. Looks kind of neat down here with the building in the background like you're standing there. It's a little noisy in spots. I don't care about the noise as long as the thing runs. And back to track one. So like I said, if anybody else has one of these out here and your sensors are not working or it won't calibrate right, you really don't need it. Just be sure that you put the unit back to track one. As long as it's at track one, it knows where it is and it can find all the other positions. Basically, to make a long story short, how this thing works, it's basically just a direction and a timer. So it times from track 1 to all other positions. If you stop at 2, then it takes that into account for the next stop. So again, like I say, the critical point is to have the transfer table in the track 1 position. If it ever gets out of whack, you can select to track 1, pull the table off, and then put it in the track 1 position. Anyway, thanks for looking.